plaintiff, Esther Elliott, claims the defendant is her niece, and she's nothing but a backstabber who takes advantage of the elderly. Esther's suing because she claims the defendant stole $200 from her. Defendant Michelle Heinz says in the past 10 to 15 years, Esther has become so addicted to meth that she was cooking it in her home. Michelle claims she filed a protective order against Esther because she was threatening her, and she's countersuing for harassment.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
This is a most conniving, backstabbing, bovine excrement talking girl you will ever meet in your life.
I learned from you.
You wished. She does nothing but take advantage of the handicapped and the elderly people. She tells them that she will give them something good, and the only thing she does is takes their money and run. She deceived my parents. She took my mother's bank account and emptied it out.
How long ago was that?
Oh, this was in about 2013 or so. Her daughter has autism, and she gets SSI every month. That's over a $700 check. And that little girl doesn't see any of it. Her mother takes that money and spends it all on herself, Your Honor.
Don't they have a roof over their head, the child?
Barely.
And doesn't she have to buy food, and is the child eating?
They had 11 people in their trailer with somebody else and their food stamps buying. And 13 dogs.
Wrong again. Have you been in my house recently?
Right. You must be a mansion.
I lived in her house for 3 months. I moved out. I couldn't handle it.
You lived with me for 30 days while your husband had a PFA order against you.
13 people.
No, 11 people, 13 dogs.
Yes. So somebody had 2.
She had 4, if not more.
13 dogs.
How do you know what dogs I have?
Because I've been to your house. Please don't talk to me.
Unannounced.
Please, just please don't talk to me.
Why don't you give me a little background?
So, as she said, she's my aunt. Her parents raised me. The parents that I call mom and dad, they fit the category quite fine. For 29 years, well, actually wasn't quite 29 years, but I had looked up to this woman. She was a strong, independent woman for years until I found out the drugs had taken over her life. In the last 10 to 15 years, she became such a meth head that she was cooking it in her home, her and her husband were, to the point where they evicted me and my daughter out of their home in July of 2014 so they could continue to cook because that was more important. To the point where
what it is because you do it too?
To the point where she asked me to go to Walmart and buy Sudafed and batteries because they had reached their limit.
That's such a lie.
Now, what is the battery part?
Such a lie.
I have no idea, Your Honor. I just know that I was asked to get those 2 things because they'd reached their limit.
In terms of purchasing them?
Yes.
The store won't let you purchase any...
Over a certain limit, I guess.
Even the batteries?
Correct.
All right. So you can buy AR-15, 9mm, or you can buy 357. You can buy 45. You can buy a Glock. All of that, but you can't buy batteries.
Right.
Got it. All right. And you have a mansion, maybe?
The most I ever had in my home, Your Honor, was 8 people, and it was because a young lady had been beat by her old man. And
I know you don't ever know what the truth is, but it just would be nice if you could tell it.
Are you done?
It would be nice
Are
if
you
you
done?
Tell it. I could sit here and probably name the 13 people that were in your house. Or 11.
Please.
It'd be something if she could name the dogs, too.
Right.
I almost can. I almost can. I seriously almost can.
Please.
Just curious, ma'am, how many bedrooms do you have?
It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And her and her 2 children, which were both under the age of 2 years old at the time, lived in my home for
That's not
about
unreasonable.
3
8
weeks.
people in a 3-bedroom. Not really. I'm not trying to be funny.
No, I know.
People live like
and
that all the time.
And the most dogs I've had was 7.
I'm trying to remember. I may have at some point.
Right.
Or my family may have lived with another family in the early days with my mom and 3 brothers, 5 of us. So I know we did when I was a toddler, I'm told. And I remember crawling around, but I am told that we lived with another family for a year or 2, and then another family. My mother moved from Tallahassee, Florida with 3 boys to live with her sister in Detroit, where everybody was moving up north. Well, her sister got married 1 year after she got there. And then I came along that same year, and so she was there with 4 boys and poor and had to get any help she could. And part of it was living with other families. I think the families were from church.
Your Honor,
we lived with other church families. Be quiet. making this woman, making her out to be so bad.
She wrote
And
my
she has
in-laws
people,
a
she's sharing her
letter
place
wanting
with the helper. Like they helped me and my mama. Thank you for what you've been doing. On behalf of my family. I feel for that. I respect that. And you over here smoking meth. Who you help? Who you move in? Go ahead.
She is such a liar. She wrote my in-laws a letter, my mother and father-in-law. She thinks that my husband's brother is her father.
Who brought that idea up?
You did.
Not hardly.
But she wrote, this is how conniving and deceitful she is. She wrote my in-laws a letter wanting $100,000 and that she would never bother my
She
brother-in-law.
asked your in-laws for $100,000.
Yeah, to leave their family alone. To leave my husband's family
We
alone.
have even more in common. That sounds like something I'd do back in the day. Go ahead, what else?
I have letters here from my father, my husband, and my son that will tell you what type of person she is. Also, she tried to get a protection from stalking order, and this is before we
Protection
left Kansas.
from you?
Yeah, and it got denied. If you would like to see a copy
Why
of
did
that.
why did she need protection from you? Let me hear from you about the protection order. Then we have to get to this $200 you allege she stole. What's up with this?
She would come by my house unannounced and threaten me, make threats about bringing a motorcycle club to my house, about calling DCF on me, calling animal control, bringing the police department. She'd call my parents home talking about, tell Michelle to pay or I'm going to and she's going to pay this way or another, and I'm going to make sure people see how black of a name she has and whatnot. So, yes, I went down and had a protection from harassment order filed. The original court
My
date
father was at that case testifying on my behalf, not
Your
hers.
father
You all
never
in
even took the
Leavenworth?
stand.
You'd have been in Leavenworth
Yes.
Penitentiary?
No, not penitentiary. I've never been in jail.
I shake
Never
reading
been in
this.
jail?
Leavenworth.
Not for a period of
Well,
time.
Leavenworth, we grew up thinking that was the worst prison in the world.
My
Let me see
husband,
what you have.
this is a letter from my father.
Okay.
This is a letter from my husband and from my son.
The same one that drugged you across the floor when you were 6 months pregnant? Or the one that got you hooked on meth? Oh, wait, same person.
You're one to talk. You're just a thief running around,
Easy to get
leaving veterans stranded in the street in
What
Phoenix,
veteran?
Arizona, just so you could empty out their bank account
What
and
veteran
make
did I do
yourself
this to?
happy.
What veteran did I do this to? Considering you
Matt.
benefited from his bank account. Well, you
Oh, I've
benefited-
never benefited off his bank account.
$400 in
You are the
groceries and
best
$300
liar I
on
have
your
ever
electric
met.
bill.
You are the best liar I've ever met.
$400 in groceries and $300
What is she
on your
doing with
electric
all
bill.
this money she's stealing?
Hell if I know.
Your Honor, the man has been dead.
But I don't
talks
even
about-
get mad because I
She
know what I'm
talks-
dealing with.
She's in these different businesses that she buys all these candles and weird scents and potpourri lamps and all this weird stuff.
Well,
And
you
it
better
turns
leave her
around-
alone then.
and it
That
turns
sounds
out
like
he gives it
voodoo
away
to
for
me.
free.
Sounds like voodoo to me. Tell me about this $200 you're suing her for.
I gave her $200 to fix a van
When?
in July, around July 11th,
19th or 20th.
2018. And she had been telling me every week that she was getting this van fixed. So I would be calling her and texting her every week, only regarding this van. Is it fixed? Oh yeah, we're supposed to go get it Friday.
When was the last time you spoke with her about it?
The last time I had spoke with her was in the middle of September.
What was the excuse?
She told me she would give me back my money October 1st, but
All
October
right.
1st was the date that we were supposed
And
to
you
go to
haven't
court
gotten it,
over
obviously.
the protection from stalking order that got denied.
It didn't get denied.
But however, Your Honor, I have pictures here that I took up October
Let's see
29th.
it, please.
The van window still busted out with vines growing all over this window.
All right, but she had nothing to do with the breaking of the window, so you're
No.
just showing me to say,
What she was
is it
supposed
still?
to do, she had told my parents that she was going to give them this minivan if the window got fixed. So I helped pay for the window to get fixed.
Okay.
The
Ma'am?
minivan's still sitting there.
Got it.
My
not
parents
fixed.
don't have a
What do you
vehicle.
want to say? $200 she says she gave you to fix the van. It's not fixed.
Okay, so she called me and said, I will give you $200 towards the $400 of getting the van fixed on the condition that I get Mom and Dad's car. Okay, fine. I met with her at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday. She contacted me at 6 and says, why is it not fixed? I said, because it's been an hour and a half.
And now it's been months.
Well, no, it got towed and got fixed, and it was in my friend's barn. My dad was going to go with me to pick it up from my friend's house, but my dad's health started getting bad. They thought he had Lou Gehrig's disease, so he wasn't going out very much, so he figured it out. My mom can't get out. My mom's in a wheelchair. And so upon...
Your Honor, they're my parents. I would
Wait,
appreciate
ma'am.
if she said Grandma and Grandpa.
Go ahead.
And so my dad's like, you know what, let's just hold off on the van for a little while. I said, okay. So then, you know, we were holding off. My parents are going to be moving in with me in a few months. And he said, give him the van at that point. I said,
doubt
okay, no
that.
problem. And then my parents actually got into an accident on Monday, so they'll be getting the van this weekend.
Sure they will.
You still don't get a car because you wrecked your son.
I don't want a
Because you were
car.
drunk and high.
I don't want a car.
So she's out of her
And I wasn't drunk and
$200,
high.
and what do you suggest
and you're
she
just
does?
as liar as all
Well,
get out.
I actually tried to be civil with her for a little while, and this is what I got in return, to the point where
Well,
I
if you'd
have...
given her $200 back, you wouldn't have to
Thank you.
gotten this in
Thank
return.
you.
I actually called at one
That's
point
the
to
whole
give it to
point.
her, and she wasn't in town. She was out
All
camping.
right, well, she's in town today. Your counterclaim, how does she owe you $500?
Well, all the harassment, I have text messages out the wazoo where she was threatening me to bring these people. I went and got the protection order. The only reason it was dismissed was because we were coming here, and Leavenworth
See it,
County,
please.
No, that wasn't
Leavenworth
the
County
reason
Sheriff's
why it got
Department
dismissed.
was-
She was telling you she was going to send some people.
Yeah.
Did you
Yes.
remind her that you had 13 dogs?
to the point,
That
Your
they
Honor,
can come
I
if they
told
want.
to the point where I
Your
had
Honor.
to call Leavenworth Police Department.
Your Honor,
to
I
ask
told
them-
her I was coming over with the police, the DCF,
I have
and
a
animal
voicemail
control.
I have a voicemail I submitted that says that she would come to my house with the police department
And
and, a
that's
few
who
other
it
people.
was.
I also have a transcript of it if you'd like
Let's
to see the
it,
transcript.
Please.
Thanks.
Yeah, I know why your phone is off, because you don't want to cough up either on the van or the money. But you have until today at 5 o'clock to prove your point that you are not lying to me. Otherwise, I'm going to show up with the police and a few other people.
And this was after she had thrown away.
She's in the police and the deputies.
No.
Yes, Your Honor.
This was after she had threatened
Yes.
to bring a motorcycle club to my house, to the point where Leavenworth Police Department did get involved, and she got a phone call asking her to stop with the harassment. To the point where
And
she
I
is
actually
Monday
went
morning.
down there. And
She
I
is
actually went
Monday
down
Quiet,
there.
ma'am.
She has Monday morning training videos for the police department because of the charges that she has acquired while being high or
full
intoxicated.
fledged. You know what? You're going so down because this
First
will
off,
go,
I didn't take
this will
advantage of
go
your
straight to
offer,
Leavenworth Police.
Sweet.
Good.
Ask them.
I've already asked them, Michelle, you're a biggest liar as all get out.
Says the woman that
Everything
says that she's not an
you
addict.
sit up here and say
Says the
is
woman that says she's
basically
not
a
an
lie.
addict. How many times you smoked meth?
How many times have what?
How many times have you smoked meth?
Well, apparently you're tripping over your own tongue, so maybe you're
It's
the one
called an
that's doing
aneurysm, Esther. Look it
Is
up.
this something like your daughter having?
Hey, we're not going to do that. Stop
All right.
it. In fact, I'm going to grant your judgment. She has no defense. And, ma'am, this doesn't rise to the level of harassment deserving of a $500 judgment. So I'm going to dismiss your counterclaim. Good luck to you, ladies.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
I'll see you back in court, meth head.
Anything she says is a lie anyway.
I'll see her back in court. There's a reason I
what?
didn't bring up all the evidence.
For what? See me in court for what?
Your
Lie, lie,
harassment.
lie, 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 lie. When is she telling the truth? Never.
Says
When
the
is
woman
she
who-
lying? Whenever her mouth goes,
Really?